Hello. We're in Hamamatsu at, I'm gonna say Yamaha. I still don't know how to say it, but the thing is, if we find anyone that can tell us how to say Yamaha or Yamaha or Yamaha, I don't know, then it's probably here, which is why we traveled to Japan to finally answer the question, how do you say the company name? While here, yes, we can look at some instruments, but that's not why we're here. We're here to find out how to say the company name. And at the very end of the video, we will find out. But until then, we might as well look at some polar bears. Now, obviously, I don't think I should point it out, but I will point it out that these beautiful animals are not animals. They're plastic and polystyrene things. I don't know, this is not real. So why polar bears? Well, because they're they're freaking white and it's very pure. So what's more pure than you playing your instrument and just having a connection to it and making music? It's a very simple thing. There's a note and you do that, and there's nothing more simple than that. And Yamaha, I still don't know, facilitates you doing that. And now let's talk to these guys. I mean, we tried this before, but then they weren't answering and they were all like, oh, I don't know. So let's try this again. Glenn.
I like Japan.
And we've got Carlos, of course, in Spanish. Yeah. And now we're going to look at the Do Not Touch Yamaha vintage guitars, or Yamaha, we still don't know. My expertise on vintage instruments is -4. So I will try to give you everything that I know. Semi-hollow Sunburst, 1968. The model is the SA15. It's not a very sexy name, but I mean, that's, I would call her Frankie. Interesting, with an extended lower horn. Vintage. Bass. Double cut. Santana did things for it that Carlos said, but similar browny yellow color. 1976. You know how I know this? Because I learned to read numbers. Try it. This is something that Ryan Burke would absolutely love. Now what we see here, I'm actually spotting interesting things. I don't care about the vintage stuff or that it was Yamaha's first ever electric guitar that went into series or that it's 1966. I don't care about these things. I care about the details on guitars as usable instruments. Now, no locking tuners, boo. But headstock, I don't know. But very interesting, there is a brass nut. No, not brass, an actual metal nut. Metal nut. And then in addition to the metal nut, a 0 fret. So there's a lot of steel on steel. So this could be a metal guitar. Of course it isn't. I don't think in 1966 we had metal. comment. Ryan would love this. It has Das Wiggelsticken, okay, and weird switches, and it looks like what now is called a Mastery bridge from Mastery, of course. It is the precursor to all of that surfy things, but this is very interesting to me. Okay. Again, no locking tuners. What were they thinking? They were thinking, we don't have locking tuners, we don't know what they are, because they came much later. This is the model that later Phil X played, and they had a Phil X model with a massive neck on it before he moved to Framus and then the G people. Yamaha, I don't know.
Strings.
So it's a classic. It's a classic guitar, and they put steel strings on them.
Yeah.
So it's technically a steel string guitar, but on a classic
With
body.
a body shape, classical body shape.
What is the nut width? Is it classical or is it steel string? It's classical.
It's classical. It's like 53.
Interesting. And wait a second.
It has markers.
5. That's interesting. Because it's 5, 7, 10 as a marker. I've never seen that.
Also,
Jason, can you get this? I think it's 5, 7, 10.
yeah.
Was it a mistake or was it... What happened back in 53 about the markers?
They were trying. Also, has as a classical guitar, this is on the 12th fret.
Yeah, well, that's normal.
Yeah.
That's normal. But having the marker in the 10th fret,
Yeah.
I've never seen that on anything.
Guitar Lele de Yamaha.
The Electone keyboard, and to my knowledge they're very, very rare. I don't know how many are left in the world. Not many, that's for sure. All I know is my friend Rob Rosen in Los Angeles has one of these, and they are not cheap. If you can get your hands on one, great, but I suggest having a very, very, very large bank account. Okay, now I gotta admit, now this is something I had in my studio in my early days, were the venerable Yamaha NS10s. Now the trick about these things weren't that they were necessarily good sounding, but they were transparent. If you could get your mix to sound good on these, your mix would sound good pretty much anywhere.
I disagree. I actually think they were not transparent. That's a great monitor is transparent, but every monitor company will claim there's a transparent, but they all sound different. So how's it possible?
It's like camera lenses; they get sharp once you stop them down.
They had horrible mids and no low end.
Oh yeah, they did have horrible mids.
So not transparent. They had horrible mids and no low end.
They were very fatiguing as well.
So the thing is, if you could make your mix sound good on these, and
they would translate,
and you could hear the bass from, not through the bass frequency,
but you just watch the woofers.
Yeah.
There's actually a clip in Year and a Half of Life Metallica where they're tracking Sad But True with Metallica, and Hetfield's going through a baritone guitar, and it's just blah, 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 and you just see the NSS go boom, boom, boom.
But when it sounded good on these, it sounded good in the car, it sounded good on a small stereo. It didn't sound good on smartphones because they weren't around.
Yes, exactly.
But this was the trick. I was in New York studios where they had rooms full of these, and one of them broke, and then they had the runner just go and replace it within a minute, and they kept it. They were huge monitors. What did they mix on? NS10s.
Exactly, because they translated, and that was again, that's why they were so popular. I had mine for a couple years, and I think the woofers looked a little more yellow than this, mainly because I smoked in the studio. Not a good idea.
Yeah, don't smoke, kids. Don't do it.
Okay, first model, the Pacifica. They've sold a few.
Esta que tengo aquí es una guitarra clásica. Prácticamente es como el modelo de una guitarra clásica, el típico modelo de guitarra clásica, pero con cuerdas de acústica.
So I'm going to talk about, here's the first model of the Pacifica ever, which it literally looks like a Pacifica 112. It looks like nothing has changed in 30 years. That's not the most interesting part here. Let's talk about the Yamaha ski boot. Or the Yamaha, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is, but it's 1986 with every part made by Yamaha, including the foot mold. XBX 480 boots were the first to feature a rear entry configuration and revolutionized the traditionally heavy, clumsy design of ski boots. Why is this here?
Because they make everything.
But what? Why? There's the Pacifica, there's the ski boot. What do they
golf
not?
Club, which I'm going to beat you with.
The Yamaha Golf Club. Usually when a company gets into too many things, those things start to be bad. Not with them.
No, I will say this. The one thing Yamaha's been consistent at is doing all kinds of great stuff and doing it really well.
There's a tennis racket next to a guitar.
For all of you keyboard players like myself out there, being guitarists and keyboardists, this is beyond exciting to see. So this is the Yamaha DX1. I honestly didn't even know this existed. We all played the Yamaha DX7s over the years and went, my God, this thing's heavy, but imagine carrying this monster around. The original DX1 would have been roughly this deep and didn't have original weighted keys on it. They were synth keys, even though they were a bit heavy. These are actually piano style keys on here, but this is almost double the depth for fitting everything in there. And you can't quite see from the angle the camera's on right now, but there's actually a display up here so you can see where the oscillators and the filters are actually set at, and it's in a red classic segment display. There's 2 ROM cards in here, and I had an original DX21 back in the day. So to see the original DX1 is pretty incredible. There's MIDI on the back of this thing. I mean, it's 1983 this was built, so that makes sense. There's also, on the outputs, there are jack outputs, and there are also male XLR outputs, not female XLR outputs, which is an interesting thing. But I had a quick listen to the sounds on this, and it really takes you back in time. It's an amazing machine just to see.
FM is extremely complicated because in operated, you don't even know. So. So I found it. Everything Yamaha's here, so it's easy to find. There's the VL1. So the VL1 was one of the world's first physical modeling synthesizers. Now, physical modeling is different. It's not using FM or subtractive or additive. You're defining back in the day in 97 or 98, you're defining the physical properties, let's say, of a trumpet. You're saying that it's this long and it has this material and all this stuff, and this is what the air will do. And then you can actually change the physical properties of said instrument to create whole new instruments. I was actually in the very world's first physical modeling class at Berklee College of Music, run by my mentor Tom Ray, who had long talks with Yamaha to actually find out how to even teach physical modeling, because it's so extremely complicated that it was very tough to even get your head around it. Now the VL1 is of course monophonic because it required so much processing power. Nowadays you can do it on a cheap cell phone, but back in the day that was the shit, and it was, I don't know, $7,000 or $8,000. It was ridiculously expensive. We had the tiny little one. Don't go there. Get it? Which is the MU80, that little module that you see up there. And that's what we actually never even touched in the class, because one semester of physical modeling, we never actually programmed a thing. We only talked about the embouchure and air movement in flutes and what happens with a string on a violin. All the stuff is kind of represented in physical modeling. It never took off as a synthesis method. That's tough to say, but they have a synthesis method, because it's extremely difficult to wrap your head around in terms of programming. Similar, FM is also extremely difficult. Way to go, Yamaha. Or is it Yamaha or is it Yamaha? We don't know. We still don't know. Nobody's got it. They're not telling us. Found a white couch at Yamaha Innovation Road here in Hamamatsu, Japan. We saw Mount Fuji yesterday on the drive down from Tokyo. It was amazing, and this is no less amazing. Mount Fuji, by the way, looks like this, in case you haven't seen it. So found a white couch, sat down, grabbed a green guitar. That's actually lying because Carlos grabbed the green guitar and I'm just copying his ending. So thank you so much, Yamaha Europe. Thank you, Peter and the whole team, and Lars and everyone for organizing this for us and having us, come into these kind of sacred halls for Yamaha. The actual factory and the whole headquarters is here. Over 4,000 people work here, which is extremely impressive. Obviously, they make way more than just guitars. They make the tubas, the speakers, the PA equipment, which reminds me, I need to get a new 4K HDMI receiver for my living room, so I might have to talk to someone here. They were sold out last year. Going off on a tangent, what again? Guitar stuff. They make ski boots. I mean, if you want the Yamaha ski boot from 1986, they have that. So thank you for hosting us. If you are in the Hamamatsu area, or in Japan in general, and you are a fan of Yamaha, then you should come here, because there's a lot of stuff to discover from many years of music instrument history, and you don't even know all the stuff that's here. We don't even know all the stuff that's here. We only have 2 hours, and they're almost over. I think Glenn wants to sit down next to me.
Obviously, we're going to run into Line 6 stuff here, and you guys know I'm not the biggest Line 6 fan in the world. I've had a lot of gripes with their early stuff, but they do got the Helix here, which is fantastic. I've given that really high marks a lot, because it's a good system. And of course, the Pod Go, which they don't have here, but which we used on the island, which was fantastic. And they got the Spider 5120. The best thing about that is you can unplug the speaker and therefore bypass the biggest issue with that. So you can plug that in somewhere else. It's the lower end models I've got the issue with. They've also got the Relay Go, and I gotta say, we're using these on the island, and those worked out great as well. No gripes there whatsoever. Cool. The old pocket pod. I think we did a video on that, and I actually found it was pretty useful for headphones. Not quite for recording, but not too bad at all.
Did you want to say something for the end of my video?
Your video? Yeah, good job.
Have you seen the video?
No, it's not edited yet.
Yeah, but how do you know I did a good job?
I don't. I'm just paying.
You're
a compliment. Take the compliment.
extrapolating.
I'm saying good job. I don't say that very often, so there you go.
It might be total crap. Also, Carlos is holding the camera very crooked, but I mean, he's in front of the camera person.
What do you mean he's holding the camera crooked?
Thank you, Carlos, for being my cameraman. Thank you, Jason McNamara, for being a friend and an amazing host and making this trip possible, because we don't speak the language, we don't read the language, we don't know what to eat, where to go, what to drive. Jason has been instrumental in this. We thought we could do it on our own. We were mistaken.
Yes, Jason stepped up and he did a magnificent job. So thank you, Jason.
Tomorrow we're going to Kyoto.
I believe so.
Kyoto, Japan, in a place with stuff in it that was inhabited and owned by a dude at a time that's not now. History with Henning. I don't know what we're doing. Jason organized it all, so thank you.
We'll figure it out.
So again, Yamaha Europe and Yamaha Japan, thank you for hosting us. And what do we say at the end again? Have you ever made it to any end of any of my videos?
No, but I still know it's animals at the end.
Oh, before we go to the animals at the end, we finally now are going to learn how to say Yamaha, 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 I don't know. So the really, really lovely people here said they would tell me. So if you please, we're gonna learn to say it. I know how to say it. If you want to find out, come here. Innovation Road, Hamamatsu. Now animals at the end.